Coming up, an officer-involved shooting in Webb City, Missouri, in the block of East Fountain Road. And Kansas fire marshals investigate a deadly house fire in Iola. Also, authorities capture a Missouri murder suspect. We have details on the arrest and who police say was helping the suspect.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning. Welcome to the KOAM Morning News. Find ourselves at the 5:30 hour. I'm Michael Hayslip. We got a little bit of a heat wave coming our way. Now, get a little bit more sunshine than what we had yesterday, and that's thanks in part to the cloud cover that's moved off to the eastern portion of the Skywatch storm tracker. A little bit of light rain coming down there in southeastern Kansas as well. Temperatures, wow, whole bunch of 65s and 66s. That's as far as we're going to go. But I tell you what, we take a live look over 7th and Range Line and know that 84, 84, 85, 83 soon going to be a thing of the past, because we're going to jump right past that and end up in the high 80s by the time we get to the end of today. Look at the national perspective. Still got that cutoff low hanging out to the west. That swirling motion, that's what you see on the left-hand portion of your screen. Now, as we progress through our day, our temperatures are going to end up into the high 80s. We'll roll about 88 today. Take out that chance for the afternoon rain. We're going to stay on the dry side today, even though those clouds had a tendency to pop a little bit yesterday. And then here comes the heat. 90s for Saturday and Sunday, all the way up in the mid-90s by the time we get to Wednesday and Thursday. An officer-involved shooting occurred Thursday night at 9:15. Officers with the Webb City Police Department were called to the 800 block of East Fountain Road for reports of illegal trespassing and dumping. Now, upon contact with the suspects, an altercation occurred in which one of the suspects gained control of the officer's taser and began tasing the officer. The officer discharged a firearm into the suspect, firing one shot. Both the suspect and officer have been transported to a hospital. 5 suspects were arrested at the scene. The fire department in Iola, Kansas says a woman is dead after a house fire. It happened at a house on North Sycamore Road. The fire chief saying the fire was put out quickly, but a woman did die inside. Authorities have not released a name. Kansas Fire Marshal, Olathe Fire Department, and ATF all assisting in the investigation. Police arrest a Missouri murder suspect in Kansas, and they say it was a woman from Iola that was trying to help him evade escape. Authorities arrested 19-year-old Robin Morales Sanchez, who they say stabbed and killed Moises Hernandez Sanchez and stabbed another victim. This all happening in Ashland, Missouri. Now, police found Morales Sanchez in Iola with Sarah Malky. Police say she was the one that was helping him flee the country. Morales Sanchez now charged with second-degree murder, first-degree assault, 2 counts of armed criminal action, and Malky arrested on charges of hindering prosecution of a felony. City of Joplin has provided more information about a cybersecurity incident. It happened last month. That incident, it temporarily shut down the city's online services like bill payment and the COVID-19 dashboard. City says it paid the, quote, unauthorized individual responsible for the incident $320,000 from the city's cyber insurance policy. City called in help from the IT forensics firm to help with an investigation. Federal eviction moratorium expired last weekend. Then on Tuesday, CDC issuing a new moratorium that lasts until October. We spoke with an area lawyer who handles eviction cases. Says that to use the moratorium, tenants must raise the issue and show that they lost income because of the pandemic. Lawyer says he's only seen 3 cases of people trying to use the moratorium. None of them actually met the second requirement. And in that case, not all is lost for the tenant, though. Organizations like Catholic Charities provide rental assistance to those who need help.
For folks who may find the process too cumbersome, that the landlord can also apply for these funds. So landlords out there who have tenants who are behind on the rent, they can come to us and we will walk them through the process of getting paid.
To get approved for assistance, the renter must be in the state of Missouri. At least one member of the household must have been impacted financially by COVID and the household must fall below 80% of the average median income. Any money awarded by the charity goes straight to the landlord. The National Institute of Standards and Technology. No, they did not let me into that school. It awarded Pitt State's Kansas Polymer Research Center with a $1.4 million grant. KOAM's Mike Mahoney spoke to the center's executive director, also an associate professor, to learn how that grant will aid the local economy.
We got agricultural products, byproducts, and waste. We need to figure out some other things to do with those. So if we can look at those materials and say, hey, we can make value-added materials, polymers, if you will, from those materials.
Now, let's go to the 7-day forecast. It's a grant that also assists the center's FARMS program, which stands for Farmers Accelerating Research in Materials Science. All right, now, 7-day forecast. Thank you. That's what I wanted to do. Because our temperatures right now, mid-60s, but eventually it's going to be a little bit warmer today than what it has been a couple of days. But as I look at the airnow.gov map, air quality looking substantially better. So that's a great thing because we're a skosh below where we normally be this time of year. You know, usually about 91, 92. So 88's really not going to factor in too bad. And as you can tell, with that split jet stream, even though a little bit of that ridge comes to us, we're not having a whole lot of particulate matter, fancy word for the smoke and the ash, that's coming off of the west coast. A little bit of storm activity, North Missouri, up into Canada, or up into Iowa right there. But the jet stream, because it's not coming off of Canada anymore, that also means warmer temperatures. So let's be prepared to be in the 80s and 90s all the way through next week. All right, that's a look at your top stories and news in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, a Titanic-like move to sketch a girl at an airport tanks big time, but an unflattering portrait, well, it went viral. No, don't pay me like the French girls. I have a child. Now I have to do that, and I have to actually, oh! It's a liger. It's only my favorite animal of all time. COVID surging around the world. I know there's no transition I could have made there, but it's Friday. I'm gonna have fun. We got the latest on country seeing the spike in infections. Be back with more KOAM Morning News after this.
Topping World Watch, while COVID cases rise in the United States, the virus is surging around the world. Countries that were once models of COVID containment are also seeing spikes in infection. CBS's Ian Lee reports.
In the shadow of the Tokyo Olympics, COVID-19 rages. Each day breaks the previous day's record of new infections. The country's prime minister called the spread unprecedented as he expanded restrictions. The Delta variant is driving surges in cases worldwide. In China, new outbreaks are leading to new lockdowns. Authorities in Wuhan are now testing the city's entire population of 11 million after detecting a handful of cases. Down under, Australia also expanded its restrictions with a record number of new infections in Sydney. While French President Emmanuel Macron announced on Instagram the elderly and vulnerable will be offered a booster shot starting in September. But the World Health Organization is telling nations to hold off.
For those who've decided that they may want to use booster doses, etc., trying to put a hold on those policies until and unless we get the rest of the world caught up.
Health officials say giving vaccines to people who haven't received a single dose is the quickest way to end the pandemic. Ian Lee, CBS News.
Currently, most wealthier nations have fully vaccinated the majority of their people, while poorer countries have just been able to vaccinate less than 2% of their populations. Machu Picchu appears to be older than scientists had thought. Researchers led by a Yale professor used carbon dating to estimate its age. They think Incans occupied the citadel as early as 1420. That's several decades earlier than historical documents suggest. The emperor, Pachacuti, oversaw the construction of Machu Picchu in what is now Peru. Kentucky Fried Chicken is popping into London town with a themed hotel and a chicken phone in every room. KFC is setting up a pop-up hotel in London for 11 nights in August called the House of Harland Hotel, honoring the founder, the late Colonel Harland Sanders, and his 11 herbs and spices in its chicken. Guests get a Colonel Mobile for pickup, greeted by a chicken clerk. With decor like KFC, a hot winger arcade machine, and up to $139 of KFC chicken ordered by a Press for Chicken phone. Guests can book starting August 11th on ukhotels.com. Stays begin August 18th for 11 days. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it over to Michael for something to talk about.
All right, Tanya, this morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, Apple says it will now begin to alert law enforcement when its devices are used for illicit child material. Tech company saying Thursday that exploitation images such as child pornography, when used by its devices such as iPhones or loaded onto the iCloud, will be reported to law agencies with the help of new detection systems. The process is called hashing. It's where images are given unique numbers about that image and use cryptography to guard privacy concerns. Some industry, though, and privacy-sensitive users highly skeptical about the privacy being maintained. Others may support more on the need to protect children. Apple began testing its system on Thursday. Our question specifically for you, should Apple be allowed to go through your personal photos? Right now, 78% of you saying, no way. 22% of you say, yeah, it's cool. And nobody's chimed in with the old with permission of user. You can make your voice heard by going to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Be back with the news you need to know before you head out the door right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. CDC says COVID-19 vaccinations are up this week, but so are new cases as the summer surge driven by the Delta variant spreads throughout the U.S. Moderna says its shots remain effective at least 6 months after the second dose, though the company expects booster shots will be needed this winter. The Iola, Kansas Fire Department says a woman is dead after a house fire. The fire happened at a house on North Sycamore Road. The Iola fire chief says the fire was put out quickly, but a woman inside died. Authorities have not released a name. Kansas Fire Marshal, Olathe Fire Department, and ATF are assisting in the investigation. Police arrest a Missouri murder suspect in Kansas, and they say an Iola woman was trying to help him evade capture. Authorities arrested 19-year-old Robin Morales Sanchez, who they say stabbed and killed Moises Hernandez Sanchez and stabbed another victim in Ashland, Missouri. Police found Morales Sanchez in Iola with Sarah Malky, who police say was helping him flee the country. Morales Sanchez is charged with second-degree murder, first-degree assault, and 2 counts of armed criminal action. Malky was arrested on charges of hindering prosecution of a felony. City of Joplin has provided more information about a cybersecurity incident that happened last month. That incident temporarily shutting down the city's online services like bill payment and the COVID-19 dashboard. City says they paid the, quote, unauthorized individual responsible for the incident $320,000 from the city's cyber insurance policy. They've called in help from an IT forensics firm to help with the investigation. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Well, we sit in the mid-60s right now. We got a little bit of a warm one on our hands as the wind has shifted and moved in from the south, and also too, a whole lot more sunshine than what we had yesterday. So that'll raise us all the way into the high 80s later on today. We'll top out around 88 degrees in what will be a warm and dry Friday. So I really don't even need to worry about that afternoon precipitation that we've been talking about for the past couple of days that pops up in the afternoon. Overnight, only down into the mid-70s. Oh my, it's going to be a hot one over the weekend here. So as we reemerge with that, we're going to have to throw some Gulf moisture in there, which means Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to feel about like 97, 98. Now, the actual temperature, 92. But I'm just saying we got to bump that up a little bit. And we'll also see an increase in our southerly wind that'll be in between 15 and 20 miles per hour. Now, as we get into Sunday morning, that's where we get a little bit of rain that wants to pop up right there. That could linger for a little bit, but it doesn't do anything to cool us off as we ride the mid-90s all the way through next week. And of course, you can always find the latest on the Skywatch weather app.
A guy's Titanic-like move to sketch a girl at an airport tanked big time. The botched, unflattering portrait went viral, with plenty of people liking it because it's such a bad likeness. Jeannie Moose spoke with the Rose of this story.
You know all of those botched art restorations in Spain that are always good for a laugh? Well, imagine you're the one being restored, waking up from a nap at Minneapolis Airport early in the morning and seeing a young guy seated across from you.
He starts staring at me and drawing and staring at me and drawing. Then I'm like, is this creepy or is this awesome? I decided it was awesome.
18-year-old Emma Keene was on her first cross-country trip alone, waiting for a connecting flight to Los Angeles. She admits she felt flattered and even hammed it up for the artiste.
I was posing.
After about half an hour, the guy approached
And hands me this.
Emma says she had been hoping for something along the lines of Titanic.
Jack, I want you to draw me like one of your French girls.
But instead,
I was getting drawn like a South Park character.
the guy who signed the sketch, Joe, told her,
I'm sorry if this is weird, but I drew you. Immediately, I was just like, oh wow, okay.
But to her admirer, she said,
Oh my gosh, thank you, that's so sweet of you. You did a good job.
Emma, who's studying psychology and neuroscience, says it was like Napoleon Dynamite inviting Trisha to the dance by drawing her.
Took me like 3 hours to finish the shading on your upper lip.
I have angry eyes.
Emma objects to her mask, drawn as if she weren't wearing it over her nose when she says she was, her messy hair and that blob of a body.
I was humbled.
They spent 40 minutes talking before their flight left for LA.
He ended up being like a very sweet boy.
Since the drawing went viral, Emma's received other portraits to compensate, and the original is chilling on the fridge.
It was my dad's idea. My family thinks it's hysterical.
It may have been a failed pickup ploy, but at least she can't complain that he didn't get her good side.
He gave her angry eyes, Michael. What do you think? Quite the likeness?
No, I just found out J.R. Richard died. Yeah, 71 years old. Man, tell you what, that was probably epitome right there of all the talent in the world that Mother Nature decided she was going to take quickly. Yeah, that's what I get when I'm just like perusing.
I couldn't hear anything you said there.
No, that's fine. Look, that was a cute story. Jeannie Moose did a great job, as usual. J.R. Richard, anyway, died this morning at the age of 71. For those of you that are familiar, Houston Astros. He is in the Houston Astro Hall of Fame, and obviously his career cut short in 1980 with a number of health problems. It's crazy. Can you imagine him and Nolan Ryan in the same rotation? I cannot. That would have been tremendously fun to watch. Weather trend for today going to push us up into the high 80s. It's going to be a dry one, albeit a hot one, as the rain's going to push off to the east. But the 90s are back all week long. We'll be back right after this. You know, a big factor for today is we've been talking about our air quality, ever since Monday, with all those wildfires coming out of the West Coast. Now, so this is a little bit deceiving because what it was doing is lifting everything out of California and then kind of taking it up here and dispatching it right through the 4 states. But what we've got now is this little cutoff low. And when we talk about cutoff low, what that means, it's usually low pressure systems. I've seen them develop into high pressure systems too. But you get that circular motion right in there, right through the 4 corners region, as they call it. And so that also too will give you some thunderstorm activity and whatnot. But what it does is all the particulate matter, the ash and the smoke and everything, it's pushed east of the Mississippi now. So it's kind of hanging over the Tennessee River Valley, the Ohio River Valley. We don't have to deal with that today. And so that is a great thing. Our air quality much, much better because we're going to finish off in the high 80s today. We'll be back right after this.
Coming up, officer-involved shooting in Webb City in the block of East Fountain Road. And the Kansas Fire Marshal investigates a deadly Iola house fire. Also, authorities capture a Missouri murder suspect. We'll have details on the arrest and who police say was helping the suspect evade arrest.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
And welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. It's going to be a hot one today with our highs getting back up there into those 90s. Man.
Yeah, we're going to approach that. I don't think we'll get there. I think we'll come just a skosh short of the 90-degree mark. Here's a live look outside of Television City, where, 7th range line, where right now we sit at 66 degrees. So actually we're about 3-4 degrees cooler than what we were on yesterday. You'll also notice too a little uptick in the humidity, and that's because that Gulf moisture is beginning to work in on us. Now, no worries on the severe thunderstorm risk map. So we do like the looks of it. And while we're going to stay on the dry side for today, we are going to be on the warm/hot side as well. Temperature's going to creep up in the high 80s mark this afternoon. A whole lot of sunshine. Don't have that cloud cover that we did yesterday. And this future track will show us. Interesting thing will be overnights. Yeah, we're only going to get into the 70s. Those 60s are going to be a thing of the far past as the 7-day forecast sends us up into the 90s for Saturday, Sunday. Mid-90s, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I think we'll continue that all the way into the next weekend as well.
Yeah, I don't know why I was jumping the gun there. I knew we had one more cool day before it got nasty again with humidity.
It's, taste of summer, re-emerging. We're going to feel it.
Remind you the dog days of summer are upon us.
That 1956 record, though, make you feel a little bit better.
Huh. Yeah. Well, at least it wasn't 53.
I'm going to talk about our record lows here in a little bit because I've found that extremely interesting. And I don't have a rhyme or reason for it. I just find it interesting.
All right. Sounds good. Something to chat about later. All right. Thanks, Michael. Well, an officer-involved shooting occurred Thursday night at 9:15 p.m. Officers with the Webb City Police Department were called to the 800 block of East Fountain Road for reports of illegal trespassing and dumping. Upon contact with the suspects, an altercation occurred in which one of the suspects gained control of the officer's taser and began tasing the officer. Officer discharged their firearm into the suspect, firing one shot. Both the suspect and the officer have been transported to the hospital. 5 suspects were arrested at the scene. The Iola, Kansas Fire Department says a woman is dead after a house fire. The fire happened at a house on North Sycamore Road. The Iola fire chief says the fire was put out quickly, but a woman inside died. Authorities have not released a name. The Kansas Fire Marshal, Olathe Fire Department, and ATF are assisting in the investigation. Police arrest a Missouri murder suspect in Kansas, and they say an Iola woman was trying to help him evade capture. Authorities arrested 19-year-old Robin Morales Sanchez, who they say stabbed and killed Moises Hernandez Sanchez and stabbed another victim in Ashland, Missouri. Police found Morales Sanchez in Iola with Sarah Malky, who police say was helping him flee the country. Morales Sanchez is charged with second-degree murder, first-degree assault, and 2 counts of armed criminal action. Malky was arrested on charges of hindering prosecution of a felony. The OSBI is helping the Miami, Oklahoma Police Department in a death investigation. Highway workers found a body along Highway 69A near Miami on Thursday. Authorities say the victim was a man, but they're not releasing any more details at this time. City of Joplin provides more information about a cybersecurity incident that happened last month. That incident temporarily shut down the city's online services like bill payment and the COVID-19 dashboard. City says they paid the, quote, unauthorized individual responsible for the incident $320,000 from the city's cyber insurance policy. They've called in help from an IT forensics firm to help with the investigation. The federal eviction moratorium expired last weekend, and then on Tuesday, the CDC issued a new moratorium lasting until October. We spoke with an area lawyer who handles eviction cases, who says that to use the moratorium, tenants must raise the issue and show that they've lost income because of the pandemic. The lawyer says he's only seen 3 cases try to use the moratorium, none of them meeting that second requirement. In that case, not all is lost for the tenant. Organizations like Catholic Charities provide rental assistance to those who need help.
For folks who may find the process too cumbersome, that the landlord can also apply for these funds. So landlords out there who have tenants who are behind on the rent, they can come to us and we will walk them through the process of getting paid.
To get approved for assistance, the renter must be in Missouri. At least one member of the household must have been impacted financially by COVID, and the household must fall below 80% of the average median income. Any money awarded by the charity would go to the landlord. Percentage of U.S. adults who say they oppose getting the COVID vaccine has remained unchanged since December. That's according to a report from the Kaiser Family Foundation. That opposition and other vaccine hesitancy is what a collaboration in Joplin is working to get through, so more 4-staters will get vaccinated. KOAM's Zach Dodge has how that effort has come to a head and how the community responded.
From school leaders,
Bulldogs, go out and get vaccinated,
and coaches,
Our best advice is seek your healthcare professional.
to community leaders,
Listen to the doctors, listen to the epidemiologists, listen to the scientists.
and doctors, all coming together to encourage 4 states residents to get vaccinated.
The risk is too great not to get the vaccine.
Efforts by the Community Health Collaborative, made up of several community organizations and leaders, to get vaccination rates in the community up, came to a head with a walk-in clinic at Access Family Care.
All of the healthcare professionals who have partnered with us have spoke to the safety and the efficacy of the vaccines and at least preventing serious illness and hospitalization. And so we think as a community, it's our responsibility to have a safe community for each other.
And as vaccinations happened inside, those leaders took to Facebook Live to encourage residents to come out.
And we're rivals and we like to win when we're on the court or on the field, but we're not competing right now. We're all on the same page, pushing for the same thing.
A drive-in testing clinic was also put on by the state.
Perfect.
With more than 50 tests in 3 hours. So more will be done to break through vaccine hesitancy or whatever else may be holding residents back.
Whatever the reasons have been that they have not had the vaccine in the past, I think with the present state of affairs with the Delta variant that they need to rethink this situation.
We came together after a giant tornado 10 years ago. And that's the community that we need to see back here to beat this crisis.
In Joplin, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
According to the City of Joplin's coronavirus dashboard, 95 people are hospitalized with COVID in Joplin hospitals. If you have questions about the vaccines, you can find more information on the CDC's website. And if you are a Missouri resident looking for where to get a vaccine, you can get Missouri's Vaccine Navigator to find what locations near you have your preferred vaccine. We have links to both of those sites on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. 6:07.
And away we go back into the 80s. Hello, summertime heat as it reemerges with a good healthy dose of sunshine today. Don't have to worry about the cloud cover, nor have to worry about the precipitation. And now we begin our warm up that has the 90s that begin on Saturday and Sunday and carry us all through next week.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, better brain health.
This summer bounty is good for your brain. I'm Elise Preston with more on the fruits and vegetables to help you stay sharp and fight stress.
Plus, President Biden is calling on automakers to ramp up their electric vehicle divisions. And for this week's staycation, we take a visit to Martin and Osa Johnson's Safari Museum. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. In Consumer Watch this morning, the White House wants to give the electric car industry a boost. The administration is setting new goals for EV sales and setting stricter fuel efficiency standards. CBS's Ben Tracy reports.
President Biden took a quick spin in an electric Jeep outside the White House as part of his push to speed up the production of e-powered vehicles.
We have a playbook and it's going to work. Today, I'm announcing steps we're taking to set a new pace for electric vehicles.
The president signed an executive order that says half of all new vehicles sold in the U.S. should be electric by 2030. Right now, EVs make up just 2% of new car sales. The auto industry says it aspires to reach 40 to 50% EV sales, but that is not binding.
When the automakers talk about their EV sales, they frame it as aspirations, as goals. Do you believe they're going to do what they say they may do?
You know, we hope that they will, and we will hold them accountable. We know that this is where the technology is headed.
EPA Administrator Michael Regan is also releasing stricter new efficiency standards for cars and trucks, claiming it will save American drivers as much as $250 billion in fuel by 2050 and prevent 2.2 billion tons of carbon pollution. Some environmental groups wanted the administration to be bolder. The new regulations are essentially a return to the Obama administration standards undone by President Trump.
I'm disappointed that the president who says global warming is an existential threat isn't putting out a rule that is up to the challenge of that threat.
But the White House believes the changes will accelerate the move to green energy. Ben Tracy, CBS News, Washington.
Transportation is the single largest source of planet warming greenhouse gas emissions in the U.S., and that's according to the EPA. Dollar General is recalling more than 150,000 folding chairs. This after consumer reports of amputation or laceration of fingers, and that's according to the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission. There have been at least 3 reports of the chair's metal folding joints resulting in amputations or lacerations to fingers. The chairs were sold at Dollar General stores nationwide between January of 2019 and September of 2019. Consumers can contact the store for a full refund. A Target run can now be played in a board game. Target and Hasbro are teaming up to bring customers a limited edition Monopoly game made to mimic a trip to the fan favorite chain store. Instead of buying properties and collecting money, players will make their way around the board, collecting items to fill their red baskets. Other fun twists include the iconic bullseye and puppy mascot being used as game pieces. The Target version of Monopoly is available for a limited time at store locations and online. This is a sure sign autumn is not too far off. Starting this month, Starbucks fall products are back on grocery store shelves. The offerings include returning seasonal favorites such as pumpkin spice flavored creamer and pumpkin spice flavored coffee. You've been waiting for it, it's here. The new products include pumpkin spice flavored non-dairy creamer and pumpkin spice cold brew concentrate. Just a reminder, these items are only available for a limited time. That's it for Consumer Watch. We'll be right back.
617, roll a little weather on the 7s on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. We see a little bit trying to pop up there on the eastern edge of southwest Missouri. Hasn't really resulted in anything as of yet. Nice thing about today is we'll get a whole bunch of sunshine, all that cloud cover that we have, everything moving just to the east of us. I mean, just barely too. We see it kind of ranging over the Ozarks there with a fair amount of rain also too in north central Arkansas and then in north central Missouri. But for the most part, we're kind of carved out and sitting fairly nice. A little bit cooler than what we had yesterday morning. We'll go 67 in Joplin, 65 in Miami, and let's roll 66 in Carthage. As far as our high temperatures, look at that, 84, 84, 84, 85, 83. We know that's not going to last. Calm now. Live look over 7th and Rangeline as the sky begins to lighten up. 66 with that humidity, 90%, but you really don't notice it. It's not too bad at all. Contiguous 48 with that cutoff low. That's on the left-hand side of your screen. That little circular motion that you see, and still ranging thunderstorm activity from the mid-Atlantic all the way up to the East Coast. That's been rather impressive for the past couple of days. Severe thunderstorm risk, yeah, we're starting to see that marginal area grow. Now, granted, we don't even see the low, the elevated, the high. That's the thing of the past. But at the same point in time, we are talking about a little bit more widespread rain. Anything that we see today is going to be simply a raindrop or two. Last for about 5 to 10 minutes as our temperatures now pushing up into the high 80s. Well, that's an indicator that, especially, not only is that an indicator, but also too, as we get into the 7-day forecast, look at the overnight lows that remain in the 70s. So we got a little bit of August heat headed our way. Keep those afternoon shots for rain at about 10 and 20%. Same thing we've done all week long. Just get ready to have the humidity return. Tanya?
Yeah, well, as long as the AC is working in your car, it might be a good weekend for a little staycation. Well, Martin and Osa Johnson may have traveled far and wide from the jungles of South America to the plains of Tanzania, but it all started right here in the 4 states. KOAM photojournalist Leanne Mandelbaum takes us to the Safari Museum where their story comes to life.
The Johnsons were very passionate about creating a record of our natural and cultural world because they saw the modern world is expanding and growing into these pristine areas, and they wanted to create a record for future generations of the culture, the customs, as well as the wildlife. It begins with Martin Johnson. You got to start with an interesting character by the name of Jack London. He was part of the 1907 to 1909 Snark trip through the South Pacific, and that gave Martin the spark he needed and the passion to travel the world more and filmmake, and met Osa on a blind date, and together they traveled the world after getting married, and the rest is history, I guess. There were people doing filming in Africa, but it largely tended to be colonials, hunters, filming their exploits, and the Johnsons brought both an artistic as well as an anthropological, zoological eye to their work. They wanted to create a documentation of a world they believed was starting to vanish. They were truly a team. They were partners, 100%. What really makes this museum special is the story of Martin and Osa Johnson. It's the story.
Martin and Osa Johnson Safari Museum is open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday, and from 1 to 5 on Sundays. We'll be right back. Topping Health Watch this morning, better brain health may start on your plate. It's peak season for summer fruits and vegetables that are nutrient rich and can help with stress reduction, mood, and cognitive decline. CBS's Elise Preston explains.
Fresh fruits and vegetables are plentiful in the summer months.
Cherries, hopefully, peaches, plums.
I bought some tomatoes, heirloom tomatoes.
And it turns out that bounty is good for your brain.
If we don't have a healthy working brain, the rest is a little irrelevant.
Brain health expert Dr. Tara Linsell says summer favorites like berries can help stabilize blood sugar and reduce inflammation.
There's some new emerging research that ties things like sugars and inflammatory foods to the inflammation of your brain, those people were found to have more levels of major depressive disorder.
Vitamin-rich leafy greens like kale, spinach, and arugula can help slow cognitive decline.
Hoping that it keeps me more alert and vibrant.
Dr. Sell suggests eating a veggie rainbow, including bell peppers, cauliflower, broccoli, eggplant, carrots, and tomatoes.
The more colors you add into your dishes, the prettier they look and the better in taste and the better you're going to look as well.
Another bonus, melons like cantaloupe, honeydew, and watermelon have high water content, keeping you hydrated on hot summer days.
They're also rich with vitamin C, and vitamin C is so important to help you fight stress. And right now, that's exactly what we need.
Sell says nutrition can also be a frontline defense for mental well-being, especially during the pandemic.
I think we need to broaden what we can do individually to help take control and improve our mental health. And a great place to start is how you're fueling your brain.
And that could bring some peace of mind. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
Well, when you make it back to your kitchen, Dr. Sell says to keep it simple and fun and try focusing on one new item each week. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Throughout Friday, temperatures are going to be up into the high 80s. Whole lot of sunshine today. All that cloud cover is kicked off to the east, and we don't have to worry about really any rain because it's hanging on the other side of the Ozarks right now, and it'll continue to move from southwest to the northeast. So it's going to be a dry and hot one. It's going to be a dry and hot weekend as well. Let's talk about the reemergence of the 90s that are headed our way for Saturday and Sunday, and then look at Monday through Thursday. The mid-90s headed right back. Good dose of humidity with it as well. Be back right after this.
Coming up, an officer-involved shooting in Webb City in the block of East Fountain Road. And the Kansas Fire Marshal investigates a deadly Iola house fire. Also, authorities capture a Missouri murder suspect. We'll have details on the arrest and who police say was helping the suspect evade arrest.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. It's going to be a little bit warmer today, but hey, we've got one more day before we head back into the 90s.
We'll notice the difference though this afternoon compared to what we had the past couple of days, especially with that cloud cover that hung over us yesterday. Yeah, only got up to about 83, 84 degrees for our Thursday. Now Friday is going to be a little bit different as we are already starting off at 66 degrees. And the humidity, okay, this is what's going to be our problem into the weekend. It is going to be the humidity. 66s in Lamar, Carthage, 65s in Miami and Parsons, and let's go 66s in Fort Scott and Nevada. Now, if we take off the sweeping radar, we don't have a whole lot even touching the ground here on this Friday morning. Got to work off to the east of us. It took the cloud cover with it, took all the rain with it as well. And the nice thing was is that ground just able to pick it up so quickly yesterday that we didn't have any flooding concerns, even in those places where, especially in southeast Kansas, where it just wanted to come down for a couple hours straight. I mean, it wasn't heavy or anything like that. It just didn't want to give up. So today we'll go sunny skies and highs in the high 80s. Look at that roll southwest to northeast, all the precip. Sunset, okay, is where it gets a little interesting because that's usually, when things calm down and whatnot. Well, the south wind is going to pick up. And also, too, all the Gulf moisture, it's got no place to go but toward us. So the south wind grabs the Gulf moisture, brings it our way. We get up into the 90s. Going to feel about like 97, 98 on Saturday and Sunday. And then Monday, Tanya, we're talking easily feeling like triple digits the rest of the week.
All right, well, yeah, definitely want to.
It's been too calm and quiet lately.
The heat returns.
You know what they say about paybacks?
They're always worse. Oh.
Yeah, that was the PG way to put it. Right.
Yeah, I know where you're going. Moving along. An officer-involved shooting occurred Thursday night at 9:15 p.m. Officers with the Webb City Police Department were called to the 800 block of East Fountain Road for reports of illegal trespassing and dumping. Upon contact with the suspects, an altercation occurred in which one of the suspects gained control of the officer's taser and began tasing the officer. Officer discharged their firearm into the suspect, firing one shot. Both the suspect and the officer have been transported to the hospital. 5 suspects were arrested at the scene. The Iola, Kansas Fire Department says a woman is dead after a house fire. The fire happened at a house on North Sycamore Road. The Iola fire chief says the fire was put out quickly, but a woman inside died. Authorities have not released a name. The Kansas Fire Marshal, Olathe Fire Department, and the ATF are assisting in the investigation. Police arrest a Missouri murder suspect in Kansas. And they say an Iola woman was trying to help him evade capture. Authorities arrested 19-year-old Robin Morales Sanchez, who they say stabbed and killed Moises Hernandez Sanchez and stabbed another victim in Ashland, Missouri. Police found Morales Sanchez in Iola with Sarah Malky, who police say was helping him flee the country. Morales Sanchez is charged with second-degree murder, first-degree assault, and 2 counts of armed criminal action. Melky was arrested on charges of hindering prosecution of a felony. City of Joplin has provided more information about a cybersecurity incident that happened last month. That incident temporarily shut down the city's online services like bill payment and the COVID-19 dashboard. The city says they paid the unauthorized individual responsible for the incident $320,000 from the city's cyber insurance policy. They've called in help from an IT forensics firm to help with the investigation. The federal eviction moratorium expired last weekend, and then on Tuesday, the CDC issued a new moratorium lasting until October. We spoke with an area lawyer who handles eviction cases, who says that to use the moratorium, tenants must raise the issue and show that they lost income because of the pandemic. The lawyer says he's only seen 3 cases try to use the moratorium, and none of them met the second requirement. In that case, not all is lost for the tenant. Organizations like Catholic Charities provide rental assistance to those who need help.
For folks who may find the process too cumbersome, that the landlord can also apply for these funds. So landlords out there who have tenants who are behind on the rent, they can come to us and we will walk them through the process of getting paid.
To get approved for assistance, the renter must be in Missouri. At least one member of the household must have been impacted financially by COVID, and the household must fall below 80% of the average median income. Any money awarded by the charity would go to the landlord. The National Institute of Standards and Technology has awarded Pitt State's Kansas Polymer Research Center with a $1.4 million grant. KOAM's Mike Mahoney spoke to the center's executive director and an associate professor to learn how that grant will aid the local economy.
Basically, everything we're doing is focusing on generating jobs in this area.
Tim Dawsey, Executive Director of PSU's Kansas Polymer Research Center, says the $1.4 million grant the center just received will allow them to keep researching ways the plastics and polymers industry can assist local agriculture.
We got agricultural products, byproducts, and waste. We need to figure out some other things to do with those. So if we can look at those materials and say, hey, we can make value-added materials, polymers, if you will, from those materials. Everybody wins. We bring manufacturing opportunities in. Our excellent graduates who are recruited all over the nation have the opportunity to stay right here in the region.
Dawsey says the research the center is doing on farm byproducts that often end up in a landfill could be the key to not only recycling, but to creating brand new industries for the 4-state area.
We can make insulation from this. We can make cushioning materials from this. We can make acoustic materials from this. We can make decorative materials from this. There's any number of things that we can be able to do with that.
Associate Professor of Chemistry Ram Gupta shares in his executive director's excitement for the grant because he knows what it will mean for his students.
The good point of this grant is that we are able to acquire lots of new equipment which will be very helpful for our students, because hands-on experience is the key for the industrial growth.
In Pittsburgh, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
This grant will also assist the center's FARMS program, which stands for Farmers Accelerating Research in Materials Science. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. the largest fire in California's history.
California's largest wildfire has destroyed another community and threatens even more. I'm Bradley Blackburn with the destructive power of the Dixie Fire.
Plus, for our Something to Talk About, we're asking, should Apple be allowed to go through your personal photos? We let you weigh in, but first, it's 6:37.
Warm today, hot for the weekend. High 80s on Friday, 90s coming for us on Saturday and Sunday. Be back with Nation Watch next.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, California's largest wildfire continues to spread this morning, and it has consumed another small town. Bradley Blackburn reports on how fire crews are fighting to stop it.
The Dixie Fire is destroying everything in its path in Northern California. The small community of Canyon Dam was swallowed by flames Thursday. Wind pushing the fire up dry timber as 5,000 firefighters try to control the blaze.
I've been fighting fire for almost 25 years, and this is the most extreme fire behavior that I've ever been a part of.
Dixie Fire is one of the largest in California's history, burning more than 500 square miles. That's an area bigger than Los Angeles.
I just can't see it, not being here.
The town of Chester is fully evacuated with the fire approaching. 2,000 residents know they may never see their homes again, including mother of 3 Dawn Rocha, who packed up what she could and left.
We'll be okay. They'll get new toys and everything, but it's just memories.
Not far away in Greenville, residents are seeing Dixie's destruction. The historic mountain town reduced to ashes. Businesses, the library, the post office, and over 100 homes burned to the ground.
There's no reason for us to lose our town.
Rhonda Reams evacuated Greenville with her partner and her dog. They have no home to return to.
We stood outside of the property yesterday and watched the trees go up.
As wildfires rage up and down the state, officials say too many are refusing to evacuate.
We have firefighters that are getting guns pulled out on them because people don't want to evacuate.
Tensions high as the danger grows. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
Across the West, 100 large fires are burning and have consumed almost 2 million acres. Officials say just 2 of them are contained. That's a look at today's top national stories. Let's check back in with Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Tanya, on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, Apple says it will now begin to alert law enforcement when its devices are used for illicit child material. Tech company saying yesterday that exploitation images such as child pornography, when used by its devices such as iPhones or loaded onto the iCloud, will be reported to law agencies with the help of new detection systems. Process is what's called hashing. It's where images are giving unique numbers about that image and uses cryptography to guard privacy concerns. Some industry and privacy sensitive users, though, highly skeptical about the privacy that's being maintained. Others may support more on the need to protect children. Apple began testing the system on Thursday. Our question specifically for you is, should Apple be allowed to go through your personal photos? Right now, 88% of you say, hands off. Only 10% say, yeah, that'll work. 2% of you do say, with permission from the user. You can make your voice heard. You can get us through the Facebook page at KOAM News Now, or you can go directly to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We'll be back with birthdays and anniversaries right after this.
We take this time to honor today's 4-state hero, Technician Sergeant Willie Teague, who served in the United States Army from 1942 to 1946 in World War II. His hometown, Arcadia, Kansas. We are proud to salute Willie Teague, our 4-state hero.
Birthday list has Kason Buckle, born wild. Yes, he was. When you're gonna rock shades like that and you're celebrating your first birthday, yes, you are, my man. A happy birthday to Kason in Girard.
Oh, I cannot believe this little guy's already a year old.
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. Takes after his dad, doesn't he?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Looks a little ornery.
Right. Just like Dad.
I think so.
No offense, Trace. You know we love you.
Be proud, Trace. Be proud. All right. Josiah Allen Hallam is turning 1 year old as well.
Kid's got a smile on him.
What a great smile. Captured
My
a moment there.
goodness.
All right, Josiah is in Fort Scott.
I tell you what, man, if I walked around looking that happy Josiah, you put a smile on my face, kid. That's tremendous. Luke Bell, he's celebrating his 6th birthday. Luke, a very happy birthday to you. Look at that little fair action right there. County Fair's going, Cherokee County Fair, wrapping it. They did a great job down there at Cherokee County Fair. Luke, I hope you had a heck of a time down there. He's in Columbus.
All right, Dakota Ross turning sweet 16 this year. Dakota is in Chanute with birthday wishes coming to you from Grandma and Grandpa.
Can we pause, please? Can we pause?
He's in a toilet.
What in the world is he sitting in? Because
His reaction's like, uh-oh.
You know mom or dad sent it in. And poor Dakota, he's like 16, give me my driver's license, I'm ready to rock and roll. And mom had that photo sitting around. She's like, guess what I'm going to do, kid?
Remember that time you got stuck in the toilet, son?
That's great.
Oh, man.
And Mama Ross and Papa Ross, well played by you. That's great. Andrea Pauly, she is celebrating her 30th birthday. Great family photo right there. A happy 30th to Andrea and St. Paul.
All right.
What?
This
What,
can't
what?
be. This can't be.
Yeah.
Miss Courtney. Courtney Emhoff turning 46 years old. Nah, she ain't 46.
I know.
That's got to be a misprint. Gotta be.
You make the rest of us look terrible, Courtney, because you are so awesome. Happy birthday, Miss Courtney. Patty Watson, she's celebrating her 62nd birthday. Patty, a happy birthday in Weir.
All right. Mike Marsh, celebrating birthday number 63 this year. Everyone wave at Mike as you
Hey, it's Dean's
drive by and
birthday.
see him today. Yeah. He's in Fulton.
Dean Jesse, look at this. He's 68. Happy birthday, Mr. Jesse. Been like one of those things, I see these pictures pop up in the pandemic. I just haven't seen anybody in forever. Happy birthday, Dean. He's in Columbus.
Right. Marsha Murray is celebrating another year. She is in Riverton. Happy birthday.
Kurt and Hannah Zahn, a very happy anniversary to you as well. That's a marvelous family photo right there. The Zoms, they celebrate in Columbus.
All right, that is a great picture. And Mr. Steve Saporito.
It's like one thing that we asked Shelly to like keep our 4 walls standing. But, you know, then she's got to take care of birthdays. She's got grandkids. She's got people she's got to do birthday parties for. Steve, we absolutely love you, man. Steve's celebrating his 54th birthday, and yeah, part of our extended KOAM family right there. So, Steve, I want you to have a marvelous, marvelous birthday. As the Saporito family is extending from Weir to Columbus, and absolutely love them. So have a great one, Steve. And who this is? Look who decided to come back. It's funny. It's like we leave this station and then we find our way back. I don't know who else would do that. Trey Dawson did that. Trey's our production.
We're so happy.
Trey's our production man. I'll tell you what, I've had the opportunity to spend some time with this dude right here. And he's not only a wonderful young man who has a great family, but also too, folks, what you don't realize is some people you can put a camera in their hands and it just comes natural to them. And all you do is you hand that dude a camera and it's going to look like $1 million by the time it's said and done. Now, granted, he's on the administrative side now, right? He's pushing papers. He's a paper pusher now. But if I ever need anything, you know, I'd ask that dude. I'd ask that dude to grab a camera because he is certainly that talented. Yep. Mary Lynn Cup, a happy 66th in Crestline. Joanne Wood celebrating her 79th in the Berg, and I tell you what, Pittsburgh is the place to be because that's exactly where Doug Eller is as well. Happy birthday to Doug.
And let's see, we've got Dr. Paul Niche celebrating a birthday in Pittsburgh. Happy
What up,
birthday,
Doc?
And Craig and Amanda Oni are celebrating their anniversary today.
So a happy birthday and happy anniversary to all. Now, here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right. You can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club by going to our website and signing up. And once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com and sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. The CDC says COVID-19 vaccinations are up this week, but so are new cases as the summer surge driven by the Delta variant spreads throughout the U.S. Moderna says its shots remain effective at least 6 months after the second dose, though the company expects booster shots will be needed this winter. The Iola, Kansas Fire Department says a woman is dead after a house fire. The fire happened at a house on North Sycamore Road. The Iola fire chief says the fire was put out quickly, but a woman inside died. Authorities have not released a name. Kansas Fire Marshal Olathe Fire Department and the ATF are assisting in the investigation. Police arrest a Missouri murder suspect in Kansas, and they say an Iola woman was trying to help him evade capture. Authorities arrested 19-year-old Robin Morales Sanchez, who they say stabbed and killed Moises Hernandez Sanchez and stabbed another victim in Ashland, Missouri. Police found Morales Sanchez in Iola with Sarah Malky, who police say was helping him flee the country. Morales Sanchez is charged with second-degree murder, first-degree assault, and 2 counts of armed criminal action. Melky was arrested on charges of hindering prosecution of a felony. City of Joplin provides more information about a cybersecurity incident that happened last month. That incident temporarily shut down the city's online services, like bill payment and the COVID-19 dashboard. The city says they paid the, quote, unauthorized individual responsible for the incident, end quote, $320,000 from the city's cyber insurance policy. They've called in help from an IT forensics firm to help with the investigation. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
A little bit warmer today than what we had yesterday as we're up into the high 80s. Whole bunch of sunshine. The cloud cover now moving off into the eastern portion of the United States and taking the rain right along with it. Now, overnight lows only going to drop into the 70s. A good idea that the heat is coming back to get us. And along with it will be the humidity as well, as Saturday and Sunday will feel about like 97, 98 degrees. Next week, we will be revisiting the old heat index readings of triple digits.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're making cinnamon swirl raisin bread in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Morning news continues on KOAM, CBS Morning News. That's coming up next.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues.
We won't roll today.
How about we head out to Chanute, Kansas to check out a piece of history that'll send you across the pond.
There's a reason that the airport's named the Martin Johnson Airport, folks, because if you're going to make that many international travels in your life, probably deserve to have an airport named after you. That wraps it up for this Friday edition of the KOAM Morning News. Enjoy some sunshine. Air quality, not too bad at all. Do me one big favor. Be safe. We'll do this all again on Monday morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.